Hello, everybody. Welcome. That's not going to work. Yep. No, don't pretend like we got audio issues. Everybody who's used to this knows we got enough audio issues. We don't need to pretend like we got some.
Hello, everyone. I'm
What's
here. I was
going
just
on?
kidding. I'm really here.
Oh, man. What's going on?
Lots
A
going
lot,
on. Lots
right?
happening. Lots been happening. Got
Oh,
got some stories to tell.
somehow I got two pens on my table. I don't know where that second one came from.
Yeah, well, you're gonna need them.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Off the Rails podcast, everybody. My name is Travis, and that there boy over there be
That's Mitch.
Mitch. Yes. Today we'll call him Mitch. His wife has a different nickname for him this week, probably, but we'll go with Mitch.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we need to apologize to everybody for last week because we created a lot of confusion with what we did.
Boy, was there.
And part of it's my fault. Part of it's just the internet's fault. But so we recorded and I tried a new piece of equipment. I think that's what screwed it up. We'll see, because that piece of equipment's gone. It's no longer even in the house. Back to Amazon World, it went.
You walked it back across the street.
I did. I walked it across the street, but I mean, not too long after we got off the phone with Trey, the audio just progressively got worse and worse and worse, and to the point where there was no salvaging it. I mean, I spent a lot of time trying to scissor it back together and try to clip us, and it was just, I could have saved, and the weird thing was I could have saved the audio. Like if we were an audio only podcast, we'd have been okay. I could have clipped it back in, even though it had a bunch of delays in it. But because we do YouTube as well, there was no saving it. It was like a bad kung fu movie. Like,
well, you remember we just stopped at one point.
Yeah.
Totally reset, did a new recording and everything.
And it didn't get any better. And then in the editing process, I said, well, I'll just salvage the phone call with Trey because that was funny. I had a good time. It worked, but then in the editing process, I don't know if anybody figured out what I did, but what I did is where it puts our email address on the screen, that was out there stretched out to where our video normally ends at like the 2-hour mark, and I didn't move it. So
they had 2 hours to get our email right.
No, because it still only showed up for like the normal amount of time. They just looked at a blank screen for forever. So when I looked, I was like, why did it do it for so long? Well, I didn't, when I dragged the logo and the audio back up close, I missed the email address. So it was sitting way out there. So when the audio processing software, like when you export a file, it stops at wherever it sees something at. So it saw that thing sitting out there at 2.5 hours, 2 hours, and it said, oh, well, you must want this because you put it in the file.
Right. And here's what I'll say is we cannot control. So the way this is a little bit of kind of behind the curtains. The way this thing works is I'm recording my audio right now to my PC, to my actual computer.
Allegedly.
Travis's audio is going to his computer, allegedly. But at the same time, that's in the background. In the foreground, him and I are talking live. We can see each other live, right? So when we're done, then the computer uploads our audio files, allegedly, and video files to the internet from my computer. Like in other words, what we're saying right now to each other is not going, like as we hear it, is not necessarily going on the internet. It's going onto our computer, and our computer is uploading that separate file, allegedly.
Yeah, now, we're supposed to get a clean file at the end
exactly.
of this.
What that means is when we're done, no matter if Travis's internet goes out 100 times, if mine goes out 100 times during the podcast, my audio file should be intact. His audio file should be intact. And they're just not. So we don't know if that is a hosting problem as far as the web, this site that we use to host it. We're not sure. I do have a guy that's supposed to be looking into that.
And it's not freeware. Like we're paying a
Yeah.
premium for
Yeah.
a good software programs. I mean,
Yeah,
so we're not like doing it on the cheap. I mean,
right. We're not on Uncle Sam's freepodcast.edu or something.
Right.
So, so what I'm saying is a lot of this stuff we don't know is going to happen until after we release it. And we are so freaking busy right now to where, we just don't have hours and hours and hours to deal with it. So this is kind of like an apology, but at the same time, we may try something different every now and then to see if it makes it better. But last time Travis, got something, a whole bunch of crap went sideways and we got rid of it.
Yeah.
So, we're not just throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks. We're trying to make it more enjoyable, more, fun and stuff. So just bear with us. We're eventually going to find something that works.
The good part is the number of people who reached out and was like, what happened? Why is it so short? Like, we want more. Like, I was like, okay, because, we've talked about like dropping this thing down maybe to, like 45 minutes to an hour. And maybe we still need to. I don't know. Maybe the 2 hours is a little long. I don't know. But it's hard to recap. Like, I feel like that's just naturally where we land. Like we have naturally landed in that range every single time. It's not like we sit down and try to figure out bullet points to stretch it out or
exactly.
We'll shut it down. I mean, if we run out of stuff for that week to talk to, I mean, we'll shut it down, but we've just kind of naturally left off at that 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. And that's kind of what it takes for like to catch up on Mitch's week, to catch up on my week, and then kind of like let you know what we're doing and what's going on, and then kind of find something to talk about or talk about the upcoming week. It's just kind of the natural flow. It's kind of a long format podcast.
Well,
and I get that's not everybody's cup of tea, but
that's right, and that's fine. That's fine. We'll never have everybody's cup of tea.
No.
Now, but what that simulates, and what it actually is in real life, is two best friends sitting around, and we're talking about what all went on that week.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. And it just happens to be around 2 hours. We do not plan it or anything like that. We just now my butt will be numb in about an hour.
I mean,
my tailbone will start hurting.
I got 4 things written down right now. Like that's one of them. That's the episode title number, and then I've got 4 things written down.
There you go. And I've got this much.
That's kind of and sometimes we don't get to it. Sometimes we do. I mean, those are just things like we talked about trailer maintenance last week. I thought we had a really good conversation about it. It got completely lost. I'd like to circle back around on it this week, but we might not make it.
I need to uncheck that. I forgot about that.
Did you? Unchecked it. Okay. Yeah, I pulled it off since we lost it.
Yeah.
But but that's where we're at. Like I said, I mean, we're trying to do better. We're trying. We are actively fighting for the audience that we want, and we want this to grow, and we want it to progress forward, and we're trying. But there's a lot to it, and when you're trying to run a full-time business, and it's not. I think the hardest part for us is not necessarily that we're trying to run a full-time business and do a podcast. I think our challenge that is unique is that we're trying to run 2 full-time businesses and do a podcast, but we're so far away from each other that it's coordinating those schedules. That's kind of the biggest challenge, is getting a schedule coordinated to the point that we can move forward. But that's just part of it, and that's just part of what we're doing. I mean, we're just not to the point where we can outsource editing. Like, it's expensive. Like it's really expensive. It's like $45 every 15 minutes. And I don't even know if that's $45 every 15 minutes of raw or edited. Because if you get somebody really going in there editing, we could have an hour's worth of content that they could probably edit down to 30 minutes. But I don't know what that bills. Do we get billed for the 30 minutes, or do we get billed for the hour that they sat through? I don't know.
It don't matter anyway. I ain't paying that much.
Right. I mean, but
we'll ship this sucker straight out. But we
don't even know how that part works, Steven. I mean, so, but I do apologize to everybody that last week ended up what it was. We had a really good time. The phone call was funny. I'm going to figure out how to make sure that we can keep doing that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. That worked well. I think we can simply use the instrument import. I think we'll test that.
Yep.
We'll get and try that.
We'll do
And then,
something.
yeah,
We're gonna
we'll do
play
that.
around
We'll do
with it
something. But
because we don't have anything going on. We just sitting around the house all day. So
yeah, I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I don't have an install to do or anything. So,
speaking of which, now that we got the hubbub out of the way,
all right, hubbity bubbity bubbity bub.
why don't you catch us up on where Travis has been? What has Travis been doing?
I ain't been nowhere. I ain't done nothing.
Well, you been somewhere.
I ain't never been nowhere. Where'd I go?
I ain't never been nowhere. Yeah.
Where did I go? You went somewhere. I stayed here.
You went somewhere because I called you and it was raining.
Called me and it was raining.
You just going to pick up lumber.
Oh,
Or something.
well. Yeah. Well, that was like a NASCAR race in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did go to pick up some materials and got caught in the rain with some plywood on the back of my truck. That's what you want is a load of UV plywood on the back of the truck when a downpour comes.
When you get home, it's all bowed up.
Yeah. Luckily, it really didn't do that bad. It got a little wet. Put it around the shop, put some fans on it, and it was just, I mean, it was slightly damp, when I got there.
Yeah.
And it was only like the two top sheets and like the last like 2 inches of the sheet. So it really wasn't that bad. Like if it had gotten bad, I could have cut it off, but we made it. But got that build together. Just
Those doors, man. If you guys haven't seen those doors, because let me tell you something. Don't think Travis is sitting around building just plain Jane everyday crap. The advantage that Travis has doing the remodels is I've noticed that the complexity of what Travis does in some cases is more complex than what I do. Like, because you just did the arch doors.
Yeah.
And do they have mullions in them or not? I can't remember now.
They did not. Had one center rail to break the glass panel up. But no center mullions. No.
But they were arch top. They were inset.
Inset. Yeah.
Butt hinges. I mean,
White
we're
oak.
talking. Yeah, white oak. We're talking top tier type stuff. So,
and I don't even know what that hinge is, what that latch is called. I can't remember what it's called right now. Ceramone or something like that. It's a weird. So it's got the handle in the middle. And it's got rails that go up and down, and when you turn that handle, it twists those latches and makes it lock. That's intimidating because you only get one cut because they're too long. They're longer than what you need.
Right.
You only get one cut.
You got to trim them.
Yeah. But the customer absolutely. Oh, and so let me tell you about a little pucker factor real quick. And this will pretty much wrap my week up. But do that install, right? And it's a little bit later in the afternoon. The husband he's pretty handy. Like he's done some cool stuff in that house, like on his own. And he texts me, he's like, hey, so let me back up one step. So behind the cabinet that we put in were 2 outlets, and they didn't want the outlets in this hutch. They didn't want them pulled forward at all. So we terminated them, pushed them back in the wall, and they're there, but they didn't want them inside the panel. And because it's all white oak, the entire cabinet's white oak. So he texts me a little bit later. He's like, hey, is there anything that y'all could have done with the electrical? The bathroom that shares that wall, none of the outlets are working. I'm like, not that I know of. Like nothing arced, nothing sparked. Everything was taped up, tucked in. I said, not that I know of. I can't think of anything. He said, it's weird. The outlets are not working. I said, just the outlets or nothing is working? He said, just the outlets, lights work. I said, okay. I said, well, is there by any chance, is there a GFI in the bathroom? He said, there is. I've already checked it. I already reset it. I was like, oh, okay. I said, and the breaker is not tripped. It's on. He goes, yes, it's on. So there's no screw. Like, if we hit the line with a screw and he tripped the breaker, it would re-trip every time he tried to turn it back on, right? So I'm like, well, we didn't hit a line. I said, man, he said, well, I didn't get a chance to look at it a whole lot. I had a bunch of calls because he works from home. I'll look at it later this afternoon and I'll call you back. So a few hours goes by and I'm like, what in the world? What could have happened? You just going through the scenario. He texts me back. He found a GFI underneath the cabinet that he didn't know was there.
Ooh.
And when he reset it, it all come back on. But I was a little confused because he had already said he had reset a GFI. It wouldn't have properly reset if the other one was in line first, right?
Right. Yeah. And so what you're supposed to do is have one GFCI that feeds everything in there.
Yeah.
The GFCI is kind of like GFI, don't matter. Is kind of like a circuit breaker.
Right.
So you bring your load in on that, and then everything else past that is protected. So you typically don't have two GFCIs on the same breaker.
No,
so that's
usually
a
not.
little bit weird. So you just never know.
But I'm thinking there's no way that first one, the one he said he reset, I'm thinking there's no way he could have actually reset it if resetting the other one turned it on.
Right. Now you're right
Like,
about that.
he would have been hitting the reset button and nothing would have
It
happened.
wouldn't have. Yep.
Like,
Exactly. Yep.
It should have kind of been, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, he's handy, but I don't know how handy. But like, if he's not getting a tactile reset on that, he should have realized that there was something else going on.
Yeah.
But
there's probably a light on it. Was there a light? Well, you didn't know, did you?
I never
you
even
didn't go
went
in there.
Yeah, I didn't even go in there. But so that little heart attack was skipped. No big deal. We didn't hit, because a couple of weeks ago, we hit a water line. I mean, geez, that's
electrical round number 2.
Oh man, but yeah, I got that done. Got a quick little build done. And was supposed to install it Saturday. Called Friday afternoon to check, make sure. And look, if you're doing appointments in people's homes, I know Mitch is a little different because they're being built. My customers live in there. Call/text one of the two or both the night before, the day before, to make sure you're good for tomorrow, because they will people's schedules change. Like, and they could have thought you meant next Friday, not this Friday. Like, always, you will save yourself so much heartache and pain. Send a 24-hour reminder. I try to every single time.
Yep.
But so send a 24-hour reminder. Hey, you guys good with Saturday morning? Actually, Saturday morning is not going to be great for us. Okay. Monday's good. Monday's good. All right. Well, we'll see you Monday. So it let me slow down a little bit Friday. I kind of didn't work as hard as I should have Friday. I kind of piddled with a couple of other things in the shop that I've been kind of putting off. And then Saturday worked for a little bit before, ball games came on. Hey, Alabama. Sorry, guys. Roll Tide did not roll very far. It's all right. It's the first loss of the year. It's the one loss. We'll move on. Save your hate.
Got it out of the way.
Jason B, I know Michigan played some high school or something and they won. Yeah, whatever.
Michigan,
SEC or nothing. But anyway, but he's been trash talking in the background a little bit.
Yeah,
respectfully, a little respectful trash talking, but that's fine. But so got to watch some football, but then went and wrapped it up today. Got it loaded on the trailer. Kind of went through the checklist one more time, and then now here we are. We're sitting here. So
yeah. Which reminds me, I have to cancel an appointment for Monday, but that's neither here nor there. So that's it. Yeah, but if you guys don't follow, again, Off the Rails, you would get us
a little. Did get a reel posted? Which I'm gonna get some more content posted on there. That's gonna be That's the new mission. You're gonna start sending me some videos from your shop. You're gonna, if I gotta buy you a tripod and send it to you. I mean, you got Trey. Trey the tripod. But but do a little videos. Try to get some more content out there. I mean, just try to give you guys more. But
but follow it. I mean,
but that little jig changed my day. I'm not gonna lie.
Did it?
The face frame jig, and then I got another one that I'm gonna post later on. But I was doing some shelves today, and just putting some facing on the shelves, and I was like, why am I holding these things? I went and got the face frame jig out, clamped it to the table, and I set the shelves in it and put all the faces on it. Glued and nailed them on there, and I was like, I got to edge band some shelves. I set them right in there too. I was like, oh, this is like a hands-free holder.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so it's pretty great. I don't know if did you see the full video where I said I think I want to make an adaptation to it?
I didn't see that one.
So so it's, you got the back rail and then you got the front rail that makes the slot that the face frame sits in. I think what I want to do is basically replicate that slot so that when you take the face frame out where you've assembled it, what do you do with it? Right? While you're putting the other style in, what do you do with the face frame? I want to just duplicate it behind there so I can lift it up, move it back.
Yeah, it's just
it'll
a holder.
hold it. Yeah, it'll hold it for me. So it's not flopping around, flipping around, and getting broke and damaged. Put my new style in the front slot, pick it back up, flip it around, drop it down, and you're done. I think that'd be a pretty good little adaptation to it. Is
Great
just have
idea. We might
a little
do
hand
that.
holder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it out of that PVC board. So I don't know if it's really hard to tell in the video, but what I did was I actually, because I love dados, I actually dadoed out for that front piece. I actually dadoed that out and then set it down in there so that it can't flex or move because it's in that dado. And then CA glued it and ran some screws from the bottom in that. But I used that PVC sheeting, so just scraped all the glue off of it. It's pretty,
Yeah.
But big deal.
And that's the beauty of it, man. Is you take the core idea, right? I mean, that's how we got on the moon. You know what I'm saying? It's just a series of small ideas, and people just kind of kept adding to them and maybe tweaking it and making it theirs. And next thing you know, you got something really, really nice. And it's the simple things. We're going to get into that later, but it's the simple things like that. A lot of times can just make your workflow so. I mean, cost wise, what do you have in that jig?
Oh, I got nothing in it because it's a scrap piece from another thing that I did buy it for. So I mean, I really have.
Bingo.
I have about 15 minutes and one phone call in it.
Yeah. So I mean, and I know that's super technical, but it matters.
Yeah.
Right. It matters, and you can add up how many hours that may save you in a year. Or you just do that by, well, this probably saved me 30 seconds a frame, 2 minutes a frame, whatever. And man, I'm telling you, it's a lot of money. A lot of money can add up quickly.
Well, there's a big difference in building it standing up like that versus building it flat and extending all over the workbench too. Like, I mean, it's like before it was like, all right, time to build face frames. Cleared the bench, get everything out of the way so I can, stretch this sucker out. Because I do a lot of tall face frames.
Yeah.
I mean, so it makes a big difference. But so
and in that shop you got now is perfect. You can go up pretty high with them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The sky is no limit.
Speaking of way, we've got to do a shout out later on. Not a shout out, but so was that your week?
That's pretty much it, man. It really, oh well, I did have my final fight with Waste Management. Did I tell you about that? Did I tell you about that?
No, tell us.
Yeah, I lost.
Come on, man.
I lost the fight.
You built it up like that and then you lost?
I lost. They are not going to service my location any longer.
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything. They've deemed it a residential location and the driver doesn't feel safe coming around the corner of that building and won't come.
So he's just a beep and he expects everybody else just to go along with that.
Well, and Waste Management is going along with it.
What a bunch of losers, man.
Yeah. So the conversation ended with, so you're not going to service my location anymore? No. Well, when are you going to come pick this dumpster up? Well, I can't tell you that right now, sir. I said, well, I suggest you pick it up in the next 24 hours or I'm going to set it on fire and flip it into the creek.
Yes.
It's been a week and I haven't set it on fire and flipped it into the creek yet, but I'm really tempted to.
You probably thought about the chances of that phone call being recorded.
Right. I mean, I don't think it'd hurt it. I mean, it's a metal dumpster.
Yeah.
I really need to burn it all and then refill it back up because now I'm hosed. I got nowhere to do with it, nothing to do with my scrap.
That, you know what? Just make a big burn pile right in that dude's backyard. Just to do that.
I don't think that'd work out.
Staples and screws all in it and everything. Yeah. Drawer guides.
Yeah. So I've got a set of cabinets from the install last week in the bed of my truck that I got to take to the dump because I can't put them in the dumpster. So that's where I'm at.
Damn. Well, let me tell you guys something. Y'all better buckle up because it's been a week.
Yeah, that's enough about me. Tell me more about you.
It's been a week. So we are extremely pressed right now for time. It's all hands on deck. Trey worked all day yesterday. Trey can tell me how many hours he worked. I'm not sure. It was a bunch. And Trey worked today until 12, until lunch.
Dang.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at. I mean, we have to do what we have to do to try to keep everything going. So, right now we've got
It's all right, neighbor. I'm not trying to record a podcast. Just go ahead and cut grass right next outside the window. How loud is that?
I can't hear it at all.
Oh my gosh. It sounds like the world's worst lawnmower trying to cut grass out there. It needs a tune up.
Hey, I can't hear it over the air conditioner.
Oh, well, good. Good. Maybe it didn't make the podcast then. Sorry I brought it up.
So right now we have 3 jobs with cabinets set, no doors, no drawers, no shelves. So, which is good and bad, right? So the good news is they can do flooring, tile, backsplash, countertops, all that kind of stuff, moldings and all that. So we're not holding the house up. The other good news is we're going to have 3 final payments come in pretty quick.
Ooh.
So, yep. And it's getting cooler outside. So and one of the builders may have a little bit of a dip in his schedule for a few weeks. So I'm starting to, you know how when you walk in and you can kind of just start, Kim is cooking something and it just kind of barely hits them old nostrils when you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm barely starting to smell a little vacation.
I can smell the ground beef cooking, but I can't figure out what she's making.
Exactly. That's where we're at. I can smell something, because cool weather gets me, it cranks my tractor, brother. I mean, I'm telling you. But anyway, we got 3 jobs out right now. So it's going to be, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pallets of doors sitting outside of this office to be painted.
Full load.
There's about to be, I don't know, 400 and something doors probably that we're about to start painting. So it's going to be fun. So one of the jobs we get there and the builder's like, hey, and it's not a normal builder. He's like, hey, wood floors going in on the 6th. I said, no problem. We'll have the cabinets in by the 5th. He said, okay, cool. So I called and ordered my paint, right? And, oh, I'm sorry, Mitch, we don't have any of that paint. What you mean? We out.
You are the paint shop, right?
Yeah. And I said, no, that is unacceptable. That cannot happen right now. I've got flooring coming in. So here we go down this rabbit hole about trying to find some paint. They called the Birmingham office and they said, Birmingham's got 185 gallons of it. And I said, well, I need 5. And they're like, oh, well, your truck ain't coming till next week. I said, that ain't going to work. Nope. And you would think, right, with as much money as I spend with them, as much business I do with them, they would say, hey, we're going to send Terry down here with some paint. Nope.
I wouldn't think that because it's worth.
Exactly. Like not even a hey, we would, but we can't.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like if you want it, you go get it.
It could have at least took 10. Hey, give me 10 minutes. Let me call you back. Let me see if there's something I could do. It could have just sat there on their thumb for that 10 minutes and called you back and be like, hey, we tried. I mean, at least they would have given the impression that they tried.
Yeah. But it was nothing. And I didn't expect it. It was nothing. So now we start planning. So we have to go to Birmingham, hour and a half away, hour 45 away, pick the paint up, and we have to have it back at my paint guy's shop, by 2:00 in the afternoon to start painting. And this was on like a Tuesday, I think, somewhere along in there. So anyway, Wednesday is kind of on the back burner. I'm like, crap, I got to go get that paint. I didn't need it that day. But again, we have to have it mixed because I knew I was painting this weekend. So we had to have it mixed by Friday. And this is some of the fun part about running all this is you've got logistics out the wazoo that you're trying to,
you mean you got a
keep
plan?
in mind. Yeah.
Coordinate things?
Yeah. What? It don't just happen. Trust me. So we were out eating lunch And let's see, yeah, we were out eating lunch, and Trey, and I'm blaming Trey for this. It's his fault. Trey sends me, because we both hate my radio alarm saw. So Trey sends me a Facebook marketplace listing of a radio alarm saw. And I was like, well, that's pretty neat, Didn't think a whole lot about it, but of course, during lunch, I just type in radio alarm saw to marketplace, and I'm looking around. And hey, spoiler alert, I'm an old iron kind of guy. I love the old industrial stuff, the old industrial cast iron, steel, just super overbuilt, super heavy stuff. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And tooling around, and I messaged one guy, about one. And so what a radio alarm saw is quickly is it is a saw blade with a motor attached to it on a rail, and it slides back and forth. But not only that, you can tilt the saw blade, you can turn it, you can rotate it. I mean, there's like not hardly any cuts you can't do with a radio alarm saw.
Right.
Problem is, once you get past cross cutting on a radio alarm saw, it gets real sketchy quick.
I equate it to like a table saw turned upside down.
Yeah.
And the blade fully exposed.
Yep.
And it's on a trolley.
That's it. That's so exactly what it is.
So it's not fixed. It moves back and forth. So and guess which way the blade spins on this trolley?
Oh, that'd be towards you.
Yes. So that if you kind of let go of it, it would essentially, if it come into contact, it would be like a car going in drive. That's driving at you. But this blade can take things with it.
Yes. And like I said, it when you start doing stuff, kind of wacky and the radio alarm saw, okay, so they started out as super industrial tools not designed for your weekend warrior, right? And then Craftsman said, wait a minute, we can make a beepy version of this and make it totally not worth the crap, and we can sell millions of them.
And they did. Look at Facebook Marketplace and search radio alarm saw and see how many 1990 Craftsman ones are on there.
There are a bazillion of them
for $100.
For $100, they're all like 150, 180, whatever.
I'm gonna search radio alarm saw. I'm gonna see how many come up.
So now, that was late 80s, early 90s. Craftsman decided, hey, let's do this. Let's put it in small home shops. Let's make it super weak, super inaccurate. And, and so now the home shop people are looking at these things going, wow, look at all this stuff you can do with it. You can turn the blade, you can rip lumber, you can dado, you can, do all kinds of stuff. How many you got?
15.
15 of them.
$40 to $200.
Mm-hmm. And they're all over the place. Yeah. So the deal is, like I said, Craftsman came out with a junky one. I mean, if you're building something that don't really matter, they're awesome. They're awesome tools. I'm not hating on them. But they're just not built for accuracy. Now, remember, folks, they started out being built for accuracy in the 50s, in the 60s. They kind of tapered off in the 70s as table saws got a little bit better and all this stuff. So we have the $100 Craftsman here, and we've been using it. We have to recalibrate it every job. Measurements matter. So I was like, man, I really want to replace this stupid thing.
You mean not everything not being in quarter of an inch matters?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We'll tell you that story a little bit later.
Yeah. So anyway, for years I've wanted to replace it, and Trey's wanted to replace it. Somehow I know that falls as my job as the shop owner. I never understood that. So I go down this rabbit hole on Marketplace, right? And I'm looking at these super old DeWalt's, and keep in mind, I'm thinking 50s and 60s, right? These super old DeWalt's, I mean, you're talking 10-inch blades, 12, 14, 16-inch circular blades on these things, 3-phase, a lot of them super heavy. I mean, these jokers are 1,000-pound saws, and I just start saving them. And I'm like, and right then my mind said, you got to have one now, right? And I came across one that was a Rockwell Delta. It's a 40C is what it is. If anybody cares to look that up,
But now
it's a 40C.
these that you're talking about now we've moved out of this $100 range.
Yeah, we're back to the old school ones.
We're back to the old school. So I would say, like I just sent you one, $500. You know, which is a pretty good number. But you can get them. You know, like I know you looked at one while you were here with me that ended up being a 3-phase. It was $900.
That's right.
You know, now I sent you one that was apparently brand new, still in the box packaging. That was 12 grand.
And it was metal cutting. So,
oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it had like a 50-inch cross cut.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It
was crazy. But so I mean, we're out of the hobby shop. Just keep that in mind. So so because that's going to play an important role in your decision.
That's right. That's right.
That we're now in. I mean, I'd say $500 to $700 is kind of the average. And
yeah, I'd probably say so. Yeah, for this style and era,
right. Give or take,
of radial arm saws. Yep, that's a good average price. And I got to looking at this thing, and it's huge. It's a monster of a radial arm saw, and the price on it was $250. So the first thing I did was click on the smiley face profile picture of this lady.
Yeah,
it was a joint account, husband and wife, and 0 public posts. The only thing you could tell was when she changed her profile picture over the years. And I was like, not feeling real good about this. So I never hit, is this still available? I automatically assume, I start out by asking pertinent questions.
Right.
My question was, is it 3-phase? Because it looked like a big, heavy 3-phase saw. Immediately, she answers back with like a paragraph. Well, I'm not really sure. I can ask my husband, this and that. And what it was
it doesn't take a bot very long to type. Bots just instantly
exactly.
reply.
Yep. So she said that her and her husband's the company they work for bought this building, and it had some old woodworking tools in it or whatever. And she said, I know it's worth way more than what I'm asking you for it. There's a red flag, but I just want it gone. Red flag, right? And I was like, yeah, but man, she's talking to me like a person,
Right.
So I kind of kept it going. So then I'm telling Travis about it. And I was like, dude, check out this saw, right? And I said, it's in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's 4.5 hours away from me. And so Travis is like, hey, my dad is in, around that area. He can have time to jet over there and look at it. Because at this point, I'm like, I got to know if it's 3-phase.
Right.
That's it. Lady didn't know the model number. She didn't know anything about it, whatever. And I do. And I'm thinking, dude, if this saw turns on and it's $250, because the saw's a 40C in good shape on eBay right now is $1,200 to $1,600. That's what they go for, the exact model that I have. So, and Tammy's like, oh, here we go. We're going to get burned, and I'm trying to talk her into it, and this and that.
Right.
So she calls me back, and she messages me back. She says, my husband thinks it's a 3-phase, but we're going over there in the morning, and I'll look. And I'm thinking, okay, so I was let down. And that was Wednesday. Fast forward Thursday at lunch. Right. And this is all going to come together.
Yeah.
So Thursday at lunch, she messages me and says it's 110 or 240 volt single phase. And right then I was like, shoot, we're going to go for a drive. Because, dude, I'll tell you, and I don't think Travis is this way. I don't care if it's something going 6 hours away. Yeah, thank y'all. Yeah, see, they get it.
Happy. Everybody's happy.
They get it. So this was Thursday at lunch, right? 12:30, 12:45. And I said, and she goes, hey, we're going to be around all day tomorrow, Friday. So let me know if you want to come up. We'll be around all day. You can come look at it, whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, no. Remember, folks, I got to go get paint. And I got to have paint back to Montgomery Friday afternoon at 2. And I'm like, no chance we're going Friday morning. So I pleaded with her. I said, listen, I don't want to push the issue, but man, I got a lot of stuff to do up there. We also have goats to pick up in Huntsville.
I
So,
don't even know whether to touch that one or leave it alone.
so, so this trip is turning into a radio alarm saw, paint, and goats, right? And this is all happening live.
Because
Like at
that's everybody's
12:30,
every day. Everybody's normal day
that's
involves
it.
paint, radio alarm saws, and goats.
Keep in mind at 12:30 we had no plans for any of this, right?
Yeah.
So now again I'm in logistics mode, right? And she goes, "I tell you what I'll do. I'll get my husband to take it to our home, which is 20 miles north of Chattanooga. Then you can come whatever time you want to tonight, and he'll help you load it." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." Yeah, and so I felt good about the purchase,
Yeah.
So I told Tammy, I said, "All right, we gotta get paint, we gotta get goats, we gotta get a radio alarm saw. How are we gonna work this out?"
Meantime, I text my dad. I said, "Never mind. Mitch is on the way. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, yeah.
He's
So
like,
shout
"Okay."
out to your dad. I really appreciate him being willing to do that for me, man. It means a lot just for somebody way up there to go, yeah, I'll go. And I don't know what he knows about that stuff or not, but he's like, I'll go take pictures or do whatever I need to do.
Mitch asked me, he's like, "Does he know the difference between three phase?" And I said, "I don't know, but he can read a plate." And I was like,
Yeah.
we can at least find the plate on it and see what's on there, get factual information. It's like 15 minutes for him. It's 6 hours for you. Like, I don't know.
So I told Tammy, I said, here's what we'll do. You call Goat Lady and find out what time is a good time to buy goats to go pick them up.
I don't even know how to respond to
And
this.
so we had a plan. She's like, Goat Lady don't even leave the goat farm until midnight. This lady's got like 200 goats, dude. It's turkeys. I mean, it's crazy. It's a crazy farm.
I just thought you were getting out of the goat business.
We're not going to go there.
Okay.
We are not going to have any conversation about that during the public podcast that may be heard or may not be heard by anybody else.
Or that could be used in court against you.
That's right. That's right.
Gotcha.
So, sometimes as a husband, you got to throw your hands up and say, whatever. Yeah. Yes. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave the house now. We're going to get to Birmingham. We're going to pick the paint up. We're going to leave Birmingham. We're going to go to Chattanooga, and we're going to pick up the saw. We're going to leave Chattanooga, stop in through basically Coleman, pick up goats, and come home. And it worked out fine because Goat Lady's like, I'm only there super late at night. And Tammy's like, wow, that's awesome.
We're coming through super late at night.
Because we're going to be there super late at night. So I go, we get the paint, we leave, we go up to Chattanooga, and I meet this guy at his house, super nice dude. I never met the wife, but met him. And so I take a 16-foot trailer with me. It's got a ramp. Listen, buddy, I've got it. This sucker's got everything you could use to load something up. I've got hoist, I've got pallet jacks, dollies, wood, ramps. I got it all.
So you took a trailer as well?
Yes, I took a 16-foot tandem axle trailer up I-59, mind you, lost a kidney somewhere around the Georgia state line.
Oh my gosh.
So I pull up at this guy's yard. I had to pull into the neighbor's driveway and back the trailer up. And he goes, yeah, this ain't going to work because you and I and your 3 kids and your wife are not getting this saw off the back of my truck onto the ground. Right. So we got to bump uglies with the truck.
That's what I was wondering if you did.
Yep. So I'm backing up. We get it. I had to drop the trailer in the guy's yard, which is about the size of your yard, by the way.
Right. Very, very convenient for a trailer.
Yeah. I had to drop it off in the front yard. No shoulders over there on the road either. You Tennessee people, I don't understand y'all. Anyway, back up to his truck, transfer the radio saw over, get it all strapped down. It's dark at this point. I'm like,
how bad
whatever.
was it moving it from one truck to the other? Like, not that bad?
No, there were 3 of us up there, and it's about 800 pounds.
Did you
and
grunt?
We were able to do what?
Did you grunt?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have to get
probably farted a couple of times.
Okay,
yeah.
So it was.
Yeah. It was like it wasn't just whoop, and it's over on the other truck. It was leaning back, keep the feet, that sort of thing. And keep in mind the sucker's got a 12-inch saw blade on it, that we're trying to avoid. Get it on, get it strapped down. Everything that was on the back of the truck, the kennels for the goats, the coolers, the this and that, now has to be put on the trailer.
Yep.
And I had to hook the trailer back up, go through the neighbor's yard to get out. And he's like, I know. I'm like, dude, I ain't trying to get shot up here. He's like, oh,
Right.
no, you're not going to hurt anything. Just go through there. I was like, okay. So then we'd leave. And by this time, like, I'm done with the trip, right? I'm like, man, I really want to be home right now.
What time are we talking about?
So we left their house at 8:45 Eastern time.
8:45 local time.
8:45, yeah, local time. Yep.
So 7:45 your time.
Our time. Yep.
Okay.
So we leave there, and now we have to travel, I don't know, 3 hours to Huntsville, Alabama, up above Coleman. And we show up there at 10:30, 10:45 our time at night. Keep in mind, I got to work the next day.
Yeah.
And we're above Coleman.
Yeah.
I remember looking at my watch and looking at Riley's because all the kids went. I remember looking at Riley's sad little face. And I said, you know what, baby? She goes, what the hell? I said, it's 11:30 and we're north of Coleman, Alabama right now.
Which is 2.5, 3 hours from home?
And it's 3.5 hours from home. I mean, we're talking Arab, Coleman, Huntsville. We are up there, buddy. So we get the goats loaded up. And they also bought some of our goats, plot twist, whenever we got rid of them. So, of course, Tammy's got to go see our old goats that we just sold a few months ago. Our guard dog, livestock dog, we're over there yucking it up with her. And we leave.
Did the goats recognize Tammy?
It took one of them a few minutes. And then after she kind of realized who Tammy was, she was back to her old tricks again. So she just comes up and just rubs the top of her head right on your butt. I mean, hard too. And she's like, yep, there she is. She knows who I am now. So we go home. We swap driving.
Smells familiar.
Yeah. I remember that one. Smells like lacquer.
Hot pants coming through.
So now we're on the long journey home. One headlight decided to go out on the way home. So that was fantastic. And we
Popeye
make it
coming down the street.
Yep, we make it home a little after 2:00. We pulled into the farmyard, and I was thinking, man, left the saw on the back, left the trailer on, just took the trailer home, came back. So the next day, Friday, I woke up at 9:00 in the morning. Trey has been here doing stuff. And I'm over there chilling out. What's up, Trey? Good morning. Yeah. Hey, man, let's check out the saw, this and that. Then it hits me about lunchtime. I've got to get this paint tinted.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, no, I don't forgot about the paint. So I drop everything, had to drive to Montgomery, get the paint tinted, had to sit and wait, come back. It was just a mess.
So that's Friday. An hour drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes to an hour. How long do you have to sit there waiting on paint to get tinted? How long does he take?
20 minutes.
Oh, that's not too bad. So you're
3 different colors.
You're 3 hours. I mean, that's 3 hours.
3 hours. Oh yeah. Easy.
Between drive time and wait. And
so, but and I talked to Trey, and a huge hat tip to Trey, man, because I was like, how you feel about working this weekend? And I'm thinking, yeah. And I'm thinking I really need Trey, but I don't want to force it,
Right.
I want to be that guy. And he's like, dude, you need me to come in? I'll come in. Ain't no problem. And then Saturday we worked, and then Sunday I was like, what do you think about coming in tomorrow? I said, but maybe half a day, right? Because we got most of it done Saturday. He's like, yeah, no problem. So I cut him loose at 12:00 today, and he went down. But anyway.
Just a little breathing room. Just come in, give us a little breathing room.
That's it. That's
what I call weekends. Like, I try not to do a full Saturday or Sunday. I was like, just go in a little bit enough to give me some breathing room. Like, just to kind of buffer my week,
Yeah.
Because I feel like, Kim and I were having a long conversation about that. I see, if I don't have anything going on the weekend and I go in and I work a few hours to get that breathing room, and something comes up during the week that sucks up time, like I don't feel near as stressed about it because I did give myself some hours, or I know I've got some hours coming up that I can kind of lean off of. Like next week, not this week coming up, but next week is homecoming week, which we can talk about later. But Kim is also gone for her annual beach trip that week, and I am head parent in charge of homecoming float to build.
Ooh.
And
That went south quickly.
Homecoming float towing. And yeah. So there's like 30 kids coming to my house tomorrow afternoon for planning.
Golly, 30 kids.
Yeah, for planning and tissue party. So I'm like, we're organized. We don't need no tissue party. They're mandating it this year, but like we won last year, so the stakes are. I mean, we won as freshmen. The freshman class beat everybody.
Okay.
So I had parents. I'll just tell you this real quick, and then we'll save it for. But I had teachers who were like, they have to sign up for slots to go and supervise. Each different site. That were like signing up early to come to our site.
Really?
Like, we want to see what's going on because I promised movement and music.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
You gonna do Shakira?
Well, it's Mario. Mario is the theme, so.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I really want to do. I don't know if I can do it, but I really want. The fire breathing things that come out of the pipes in Mario.
Yeah,
I really want to do one of those that comes up.
I think you can do it.
Like I want to attach it to the trailer axle and make it lobe.
Ooh,
wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool.
Probably should put a hole in the bed of the trailer, but we'll figure something out.
Who cares? Yeah, who cares? But I want to kind of take a minute to pause on the radio alarm saw story, because here, you don't have to pause. We're just pausing we're slowing the train a little bit. This thing.
That's the wrong sound effect.
Yeah,
it's right beside the train. Sorry, it's right beside the train one.
Because I've noticed something that I don't think is going to be good for my marriage or my pocketbook.
And
I'm in love. I'm in love with
Tammy's
old iron.
She's a great friend to have as a companion. I don't blame you.
Yeah. Going over this thing, dude, getting it unloaded, I had to buy a chain hoist to get it off the back of the truck. Mm-hmm. So there's that, right? And I could have made phone calls, but I don't want to be that guy. I gotta buy your tractor again. Hey, I bought something without thinking about how to get it off. So we got it off. We got it in the shop. And now I'm like, dude, we're going to take the next hour and we're just going to go over how freaking bad to the bone this saw is. Right. And so I told Joseph, because the carriage, hadn't been exercised in a little bit. And that's so I told Joseph, I said, you just work this summer gun back and forth 1,000,000 times. And so he's over there just pumping it, man. He's
stoked. Is he stoked about this new tool?
He's stoked. He's so stoked, dude. He just
this is almost as good as a dirt bike, Dad. I like this.
Yeah. Forget a dirt bike. I just use this thing. So he's over there doing that, and I'm going over the over engineering of this thing, dude. And it's amazing what they thought of. And I looked at the serial number. It's 1965.
I was fixing to say, so did we say what time you think when you thought it was built?
1965, 40C long arm is what it is. Anyway, we're going over the engineering. I mean, this sucker's you guys don't understand. It's a battleship, man. It's this ain't no toy. And Joseph says, Dad, I think I got it. And I looked over there, and he had his pinky running this sucker back and forth.
Nice.
And I said, ooh. And I said, okay, the next big thing, right, when you look at one of these saws, you look for play in the bearings and the bushings that hold the blade. You don't want the blade wobbling around. So I took the blade guard off, and dude, I ain't lying. My hand accidentally brushed the side of the blade, and it spun for 10 seconds.
Nice.
I mean, butter, buddy. Like no wobble, no noise, no screeching. And I was like, wait a minute. So I took my hand and I gave it a little fling. And dude, we just sat there and talked while we were waiting on this thing to stop.
So do we need to rename Trey Radial Arm Saw instead of Butter Smooth? We'll just call him Radial Arm Saw Smooth.
Yeah, because they're about the same thing. And
That's a
anyway,
bad connection. I worked hard to get that to come all the way around. That really did tie together well. Now
I
that I
thought
think
about it
about it.
when I said butter. That's why I didn't say butter smooth.
Yeah,
'Cause I said, well,
I tried a little too hard. Sorry about
and
that.
so then I was like, okay, next step, I got to see if this sucker runs, man. You know, I got to see if it runs. So I snatched the extension cord going to the old table saw. I'm taking the plug right off the end of it, stripping wires, hook it up to the manual motor starter made by Alan Bradley. That's on the front of this thing. Oh yeah, sexy. So I hook it up, and Tammy's over there like this. You know, she's scared.
I'd be a little concerned. I ain't gonna lie.
Her mom, Miss Jean, was over here visiting.
Uh-huh.
The kids are all like this. Trey's got us, Trey's standing back. And I reached down and I hit that on button, dude, and that sucker just, I mean, it came on, and I mean, it ran and ran and ran. And I told him before I started it, I said, I wonder if this thing's got a motor brake. It probably don't. 1965, they didn't really care.
Run for 10 minutes.
1 minute and 22 seconds for the blade to stop. Yeah, no brake, no braking system, no nothing. So I need, what I want to do is put a timeout light on it, but I've got to figure out what kind of contactor I need, and I'm going to go to my buddy down south, Playa. I'm gonna go to him. He's electrical genius.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say I need a light to stay on for 1 minute and 30 seconds after I turn this machine off, and he'll send me a wiring schematic. He'll say just do this, and so I'm gonna do that for it. I'm gonna build a completely new crosscut station, completely new, drawers, tool holding. I mean, just huge tables. And I thought I had a plan, right? And I said, well, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. And then I went back to the original radial arm saw that Trey sent me, which is it's another Rockwell Delta. It's called a Super 900. It's got a 9-inch blade on it, so a lot smaller, but just as freaking cool. And that's when I realized I'm gonna have a problem, man. I'm gonna have
What are
a
you gonna
problem.
start buying every old radial arm saw you see?
Not old radial arm saw, but I think what I'm gonna do is if I need a machine, I'm gonna get vintage, right? And
well, yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, I mean, and that's kind of where I want to take this discussion is, you can go down rabbit holes on these old tools. You can spend money on these old tools, but think about this. Sometimes you come across one for $250 that's easily a $1,500 machine. That's going to get you better cuts, more accurate, save time. You know what I mean? There's no difference in doing what I did than buying some newfangled gadget that saves you time, right? Like a airless pump, like a pocket hole machine. The idea is the same. And a lot of these old tools, they're just better at doing simple tasks, sanding, cross cutting, ripping, planing, those a little heavier operations. These old tools they're just better at it, man. I don't care what anybody says.
But now some of these you've been sending me, I don't know if they're better. Like, I mean, you sent me one and you've got no. I mean, how does this one thing even cut? There's no motor.
So I sent you one, and I said I'm gonna send this to Travis so he can get him one to start his collection. And I sent him one from like 1920, ain't even got a motor on it.
Just I don't know, like pedaled by a sewing machine or something. I don't know.
And then Travis was like, it ain't even got no motor. I said, man, you got to start somewhere.
And then this wood planer you sent me, I'm like, what the heck is this thing?
It's a
wood planer made out of wood.
Made out of wood. And if you look, it says the roller has spikes embedded in it to drag the wood through. Yeah. Yeah,
that's not damaging to your wood product.
I said, man, I want to buy this just to have it in there.
Oh.
But so new versus old, when to buy old, when to buy new. I think that's a good discussion to have. It doesn't have to be a long discussion. But if you want a heavy operation or what I call a standard operation, right? The tool does one thing. It cross cuts or it planes or it joints, something like that. I'm going to go old iron, heavy duty, industrial type stuff, you're not going to wear it out.
Right.
You're not going to kill it. You're not going to hurt it. And they are like the accuracies. You can set this radial arm saw, Jack English Machines. If you don't follow him on Instagram, on TikTok, on wherever he's at, go right now and follow Jack English Machines. He has the exact same saw that I have.
Yeah, he's
The
got some cool
40C.
stuff.
And you'll see, especially when it comes to the Watkin table saw that he's got, that's got, brass bearings in it, things like that.
Oh, wow.
You'll see the difference in, I mean, he's got a little mini slider made by Watkins. It's an English made machine. It's gorgeous, man. I mean, and that's what blew him up on TikTok, is because he was doing some simple operation on it, and TikTok blew up, and they're like, what is that thing? And it blew him up, dude. And he's spawned now into, and he's been in the vintage machine business for a long time. He's got a bunch of it. So, like if I was going to go out and buy an edge bander, I would get something brand new with new technologies in it. If I was a crappy CNC shop, I'm just kidding. But if I was going to go out and buy a CNC, I would get the most technology, right? Because they're doing super complex things. But I'm telling you right now, if you want just something straightforward, something that's going to work, something that's going to be accurate, I think old iron is the way to go. And, I mean, judging by this, I don't know how long this saw sat up not being used. It could have been 20 years.
Right.
Who knows? Fired right up. There's no wobble in it, no play, no slack, nowhere. So, just something to think about. If you guys are doing tools, think about what the tool is, think about what you need it to do, and decide because look at what happened to Delta, right? Delta's not worth a crap anymore. In the 80s, they started putting plastic handles on crap to save, $20. And they started putting universal motors on stuff to save $100. They started using alloys. They started using aluminum. They started using all this stuff. And the whole thing just went to crap, And that's why now there's a huge resurgence in vintage machinery. And people going back and saying, man, they really knew how to make it, back in the days.
It's kind of like automobiles, I mean, as we pull out of, as we pull in all this technology, and now cars are more of like the disposable car. And I mean, they've got great technological advances, but they're just not as good as the old, Ford F-150 with the full metal bumpers, full metal body. I mean, that just goes and goes and goes because it doesn't have all these computers, and it doesn't have all this fuel injection crap to go bad on it. It's just a straight line machine, and that's how those machines were. Technology is great. I'm a big tech guy. I like technology, but if we don't need it in it, like I don't need a planer that's got a computerized to adjust, my height,
the height,
the plane. Like, I just need a solid crank, on some good bearings and with some good adjustability that holds up for forever, and let's go with it. But like you said, like a good CNC machine, I want some technology there. I want something that's going to do tool changes. I want something that's going to pick up a machine and move it and put another sheet on for me. Like, if I go CNC, I want the whole shebang,
Yeah. And think about, so at the column at the back of the saw, this saw also has a column and it raises up and down. They have a solid brass spacer in there. It's about, I don't know, 12 inches long, and it's a 1/4 inch thick, and it's a 1/2 inch wide, and it sits in there. And I saw a guy do a restoration. He bought 2 of these saws. He bought one from the 60s and one from the 80s. The piece from the 80s had an aluminum bar instead of brass. What it is it's a long bushing is all it is. The one that was, 20 years older had 0 wear. The one that was new, he had to replace it. It was worn out. The drive gears were worn out. There's a Acme screw that goes into a planetary gear, and it raises the whole saw up. On the old saw, it was all brass, and he took it apart, and there was no slack in it, no play, no wear.
Huh.
Back then, they machined parts that fit together so well they didn't wear. And that's a big thing. If you are cranking stuff out, stamping stuff out now, and it doesn't have a good fit, that's what causes wear on your equipment.
Well, and because really true, because I was thinking about it as you said it, there's really brass and aluminum, like they're both pretty soft. Like they're not; those are not rigorous materials that you would expect a lot of repeatability out of. So I was thinking, well, what is different in a saw? What is different that would make the brass hold up longer than the aluminum? Because they're both significantly soft, and that makes sense. It would be the tolerances.
That's right.
If the tolerances are tight enough in that production era, then there's no room for wear.
There's no room for wear. And I think a lot of people overlook that. You know, they buy a machine, and next thing you know, they're replacing bearings and they're replacing this. But on a tiny level, this not man. You just think about the pride that those men and women had back in the '60s, man, when they were building bases out of cast iron.
Yeah,
and they were, and I mean, this stuff's super overbuilt. And back then, that was the way they done stuff. And now it's like, hey, let's box it up into a million pieces. Let's make none of it worth a crap. Let's let the consumer put it together.
import
super
half
lightweight.
of it from China.
That's right. Super lightweight, super versatile, super easy, super. No, it ain't super nothing. It's super crappy is what it is.
Well, that's how we were able to, because of the machinery that we had and the technology that we had in factories. That's how, like World War I, World War II, we were able to flip machineries over to war production.
That's it. Yep.
I mean, and that's done. That will never happen again. I mean,
nope.
We don't have we don't have the manpower to do it, and we don't have the mechanical infrastructure in America to do it anymore. Like we've
yeah, and like everything on it is so over engineered.
Yeah,
so heavy, so whatever. That's another reason they just don't break, man. They just don't wear out. They don't tear up, and it's just, I don't know. I realize that I may be crazy, but it's just, and once you get bit by that bug, man, it's hard to get it off, because if you like that older type, really heavy stuff, it is. But
yeah,
and that's
well,
all I had on that one.
I'm glad you got a good saw. And did you say how much you ended up getting this saw for?
$250.
$250 plus 9 tanks of diesel.
Yeah.
4 goats and 7 gallons of paint.
And some paint. That's it. And a lot of stress, a lot of wear and tear on them old ball joints on I-59. Come on, Governor.
On what? Oh, what?
The ball
wear and tear
joints.
on what? Okay,
the ball
okay.
joints. Dude, she had a quarter cup of water that spilled all over the floor from going down I-59 just before you get into Georgia. It was horrible, man. It was horrible. Come on, Governor. Come on now.
Right.
Build back better.
Well, I'm glad you got a good deal on that. I'm glad that worked out for you.
Oh yeah. And so that was it as far as the radial arm saw goes, and I'll post pictures of it so you guys can see it. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but something to think about.
What do you think of that one I sent you? Should I pursue that one? That DeWalt? Not old enough?
I don't know. How close is it to you?
Nashville. I mean, I'm not driving to Georgia.
I would message them and say, so it's a 240.
Yeah,
works well. Don't need on a full table. Just wire and use. I mean, I would, dude. That's at least a 14-inch.
Right. Looks big.
Look at the motor plate here. Volts 208, 220, 440. Oh, it's 3-phase.
Oh, it is 3-phase?
I bet you.
Well, he's got it as just 240 on the.
Yeah, the volts on the motor plate say 208 to 220 volt. No, 208 to 220 / 440.
But it's only got 14 and 7 amps.
Yeah, so it's 14 amps if it's 220 and 7 amps if it's 440.
So it would run 220. So it's not
Well,
three
that's
phase.
just that's just your voltage. So three phase has 208 three phase, 220 three phase, 440 three phase, 480 three
Oh,
phase. So you have a 240 three phase and a 240 single phase.
okay.
And because it's got 440 listed as a voltage, there is no 440 single phase.
Gotcha.
Anything 440 is three phase.
So that'd be a no go.
That'd probably be a no go. I mean, unless you got now you could run that on with a VFD, a variable frequency drive. You
Yeah,
could
but
run
then
it on that.
you're not in a good deal anymore because you're buying.
That's right. Yep.
Sorry, I clicked on
Yeah.
something trying to click on another one. Like I thought I'd bring Bourbon Moth into the. So did I tell you that Derek's got invited? I don't even understand it all, but he's got invited through Rubio to go to this thing in Texas, and he's actually going to get to do a build with Bourbon Moth.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I didn't get invited either, but yeah, he's going.
Well, ooh, I like that cup, man. That's a nice cup you got there.
Super cold.
Yeah. And if you don't have anything kind of pushing, I did just have one more thing I wanted to throw in real quick.
Okay.
That kind of came up this week.
So is that all on the road trip? We're covered on the road trip, right? Yeah.
Yep, goats are doing good. Paint's mixed and already put on the cabinets, and
Now,
the
what kind of
saw
goats
is
did we get?
what kind?
Yeah.
Nigerian dwarfs.
Oh, so little fellas?
Little fellas. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, well, little girls in my case, but yeah.
Are they
Went up there.
better behaved than other goats, or are
They're
these
not
milking
necessarily
goats?
better. Well, the Nigerian dwarfs and the La Manchas are equally well behaved.
Okay.
So super friendly, right? And the Nigerians, we ran those for the reason we got out of them in the first place was we needed more milk.
Okay.
So, per goat, we needed more milk. So we got rid of the Nigerians and we got La Manchas, which are like milk cows.
Okay.
And then with the house and all that stuff kind of going on, we decided to get rid of them. And Tammy's like, don't like not having goats. So I'm going to get it. And she wheels and deals, man. And it started out as 2 goats. And then on the way up there, she said, I think I'm just going to get 3. And then I found out we were picking up 4. But then one of them's not for us. One of them's for somebody else down here. So I was like, whatever.
Okay.
Goats. Get you a
All
few
right.
goats.
No. Hey, there is so apparently I heard this morning there is a booming business of renting goats.
Yeah, for land clearing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Apparently
Yeah.
it's
Now
a big thing.
that's a totally different goat there, buddy.
Yeah. I guess they love like poison ivy and stuff too. Like
Broadleaf weeds, they love it. So anything from crepe myrtles, any kind of tree that's got a leaf, like a pear leaf, sweet gum leaf, oak leaf, anything like that. But then also all your kudzus, your poison ivies,
Well, you know that weed that grows that's kind of like got the spiky leaves and it grows up and it grows like this tall like purple thistle on it. I know for sure that they don't like those because at the other shop they didn't touch them things.
Nope. And they like what was it? Perennial mint. I'm screwing that up. Some kind of wild mint that grows.
Yeah.
They love it, but it kills them. We lost a goat a couple weeks ago. Got into the Perilli mint and just shut down our digestive system. So,
wow. That was one of the things on a long list of odd businesses to get into. That was on the radio this morning on the way to the shop. Yep, that was in there.
There's money out there to be made, folks. You just got to make it.
It's all in the marketing. I mean, this one guy's marketed $75. It's a dog restaurant. $75 per tasting for a dog to go in and do this dog food tasting thing, and then he does basically like, I want to say Meals on Wheels, but that's not right. Crap. What are like the mail order meals that you can get?
Like Uber Eats and
kind of like that, but like prepared meals, like
oh, you're
like
talking about like
Factor or
Fresh. What's that one?
Yeah, Hello Fresh.
Hello Fresh.
But
yeah.
but so you do a tasting for your dog, $75 a tasting.
Who
But then
pays the
that's
$75? You
you
do?
do, yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
how do you know if the dog even likes it, right? Like, I mean, because they eat it. Well, dogs eat anything.
Yeah.
But then the other side of the business is that you order these tailor-made meals for your dog that shows up at your house, and he's just raking it in,
Lord have mercy.
right?
Yeah, and he'll make it. He'll make it too.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it's all in the marketing. I mean, that's just what
Mm.
that was kind of the point, was just market it yourself.
I knew I was in. I told you I knew I was in a different world when I saw that poop force or whatever truck
Oh
driving
yeah,
through your
that's a
neighborhood.
big business up here.
Yeah,
They
you
come
pay
and
them to come in and get dog crap out of your
yeah,
yard.
they poop or scoop your yard each week. And it's really not that expensive. My problem is you gotta let it sit there all week.
Oh, they got Trey looked them up, dude. They got different options.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah, they can come once a day if you want them to. Mm-hmm.
I think it's like $10 a week if you do like a weekly. Like, it didn't seem like that bad, but
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. But you got to think. How many houses in your neighborhood are they doing? 80.
right,
You
right.
know, so
And another big business that we actually participated in it last summer. We didn't do it this summer. I don't know why, but is actually trash can washing. So it's a subscription. They come every week that your trash. No, they came every other week. Well, you could do different packages, but basically, so your trash, like our trash got picked up on Thursday. You left it out Friday morning. They came, and all they do is they pick it up, and it goes over basically this big water hose that's in the back of the truck. They spray it, deodorize it, sanitize it, and everything that comes out of it stays contained in the truck. So it's not dumping stuff in the road or anything,
right.
and then they set it back down. But like for like neighborhoods like ours where the trash cans have to be hidden, so a lot of people keep them in the garage, right? Well,
They don't want it stinking up.
they get nasty, they get smelly,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially and a lot of them will sour actually on trash day. That's where the business is actually generated, because they're in the garage, so it's not that bad. But the trash can will actually sour on trash day, and then you bring it back in, you're like, oh my God, it smells terrible. Well,
Yeah.
then they service it on that same day. It's a pretty good.
There was a guy that a friend of a friend. I don't know him, but he went down around Troy with a pressure washer, and he would go and he would pressure wash the inside of your trash cans.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know what he charged or whatever, but it kind of took off. And the city of Troy says, we want you to do this for our trash company.
Yeah.
And so he sits and he cleans all them trash cans, makes a killing off of it.
Well, see, we started doing ours because ours actually sit on the back patio, kind of like there's that little corner around the patio, and that's where ours sit. But during the summer, like you're out there cooking or you're just trying to hang out, well, the flies get.
Yep.
If you don't, clean them and control it, the flies will get so bad. We're like,
Yeah.
I can't even sit out here. So that was how
Now,
we got involved with it.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to sell you a trash can liner for $9, and it gets turned out every week. That's what you need to do.
I had a buddy try that, and it was more trouble than it was worth.
That was it.
Yeah, it fell down every time. Like
Mm,
like during the week, it would come off the sides. Like, he bought bags big enough to fit the rolling trash cans,
yeah.
and it had a rubber band actually. But kids not paying attention, like just throwing stuff in there, would pull the bag down, and then you talking about a mess.
Yeah.
But they do make those.
Yeah. If you live in a subdivision, I feel like, or close to, you don't have to live there, but if you're around close to a subdivision, I feel like the chances of doing something pretty cheap for a lot of people,
Yeah,
becomes a lot more possible.
I'm telling you,
And
my
it don't matter
$25
what
a
it
yard, my $25 a yard lawn guy is making well over $100,000
Yeah. Yep.
in the
I mean,
off
think about if
in
you
the
just
main
cleaned,
season.
if
Just in
you
the
just
main season.
Yeah, if you charge people $10, come clean your doorbell, and I could come up with this, whole thing about how many germs are on your doorbell and this and that, and you're gonna talk a few hundred people into it.
Oh yeah.
Once every 6 months, I'm gonna come wipe your doorbell off and charge you $3. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I mean, it's just and this subscription based stuff, dude. That's where the money is, man. Like, I'll come do this for you every so often. It's $10 every time I come.
Oh well, when
And
I had the gun range, I mean, that was all that was all it was about, was selling memberships, because you knew 75% of the people who bought a membership didn't use it.
yep,
And so it didn't matter. It didn't matter how much you sold the membership for because it just simply was not used. I did the same thing. When I would work for the janitorial company, only because I could expense it. I wasn't paying for it, but I had a monthly pass on my car for the car wash.
Yeah.
Like all I did was pull up to the car wash, and I could go as many times as I wanted to. Right? It was $35 a month. I bet you I went once a month.
Yeah.
You know, which was if I'd have just paid for it was at the best package was probably $22.
Yep.
So they were making 13, 14 extra dollars off of me by me having a subscription, and I didn't use it like I should have. Like, of course, it wasn't my money either. I was expensing it, but if it was mine, I'd probably go every week.
But yeah, I mean, you know, the same thing goes with, you know, any subscription that you get, you know.
You think I could still sell a subscription for like knob tightening? Like once a month, I'll come by your house and check all your knobs and just tighten them all.
Yeah, I mean, you probably wouldn't do it for once a month. You could do it, you know, once a year, and I would probably market it as a check, right? We'll come
hardware
check.
maintenance.
Yep, and we'll make sure your drawer guides are clean.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure, you know, you don't want to get into the functionality because now you're swapping out drawer guides. But, you know, yeah, make sure your hardware's tight. Make sure, you know, all this kind of stuff, you know, whatever.
So I was even thinking like hinge warranty, you know. Oh, you got a hinge that blew out? Okay. Well,
yeah.
Driving a golf tee, flush trim it, rescrew one in.
There you go. You know, charge them $100 a year, general maintenance on cabinetry. You know, just whatever it is, you know. I mean, like I said, window washing, you know, think about the people that clean gutters. They go out there and spray your gutter out, you know, and charge you $150, you know. But the thing is, you have to do that at so many people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so it's affordable for everybody.
Yep.
And speaking of that, it kind of segues into the next thing. I want to talk a little bit about, because I worked here, Friday night until 10, last night until 10:30, and I kind of got to thinking, like, why? Why do some people have the drive and determination to do whatever it takes to try to get stuff out and get stuff done? And why do people just kind of pass on it? They don't really get serious about it. You know, they're not willing to go the extra mile. And just, you know, there's no right or wrong answer to that, I don't think. But like my drive and my determination stems from the factory that I came from in some ways.
Right.
Because I don't want to be under somebody's thumb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so in order to stay in my own business and alive and well and successful here, that comes with whatever it takes. You have to, you know, I have a whatever it takes attitude. Not everybody does that. And I see a lot of fake stuff, man, and it bothers me. I'll see people on Facebook, right, on these lavish vacations. And just because I know them, I may know their situation. I know they have a 570 credit score and they're $60,000 in credit card debt. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that directly ties, but I'm like, how did you get, you know, like all this? And I tie it back to people who may, and I'm using air quotes, own a business, you know, and they go and they kind of halfway market it. They halfway try to grow it, you know, or they don't even try to maintain it, let alone grow it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them like to have the idea, like to be able to tell people, hey, I do this, I own this, I run this. But then when it comes down where, you know, the pen meets the paper, they just don't, they're not willing to put in the effort to make it successful. And
well, I think it goes back to anybody can be a business owner, but not everybody can be a business owner.
Right.
Yep. Like, I mean, anybody can, you know, file up, you know, papers to start an LLC. That's easy, you know. I actually just watched a little Facebook thing where this guy was going against like a mayor of a small town, and he started a company called FU, literally the letter F, the letter U, and the guy's name who he was running against, LLC. And it was a dumpster company. And he parked a dumpster on a lot right next to that guy's house with the company name on the side of it. And the guy's like, there's nothing I can do about it. It's a legal registered business.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, but I have to walk outside every day and see F myself.
That's right.
Sitting out in the yard. Now that's a little different, I mean, but than what you're saying, but the premise is there. Anybody can start a business.
Anybody can start a business, and
I mean, it's cheap to start an LLC and file it. It's not that much.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do it. A lot of people are more interested in bragging rights and kind of how they look from the outside and what other people think about them. And, they all want to be able to say, oh yeah, well, I'm a business owner. I do this and I do that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, if it really hit me because I didn't mind being like, I would have rather been home, obviously, but I don't mind working a late night. I don't mind, putting in extra hours and doing it. And I'm not saying I'm going to be successful the rest of my life. That's not what I'm saying. Sometimes, crap happens, but
right.
But I just, it takes a lot of unseen things, a lot of unseen hours, phone calls, emails, texts, and then once you're in business for a few years, you have a new driving force, and your new driving force is, Tom recommended you, or, Stacy, you did Stacy's cabinets. They recommended you. Well, now you feel pressed to keep that up.
Yeah.
Keep it up, keep your standards high. And I think a lot, and because we've also seen for one builder, a couple of the trades, they're starting to drop off. They're starting to not care. They're starting to do, whatever kind of work. Luckily, I work for a builder that made them come back in and rip it all out and redo it. Yeah. And he's like, I'm not, I'm not standing for this. And unfortunately, that's the majority of people.
Right.
Right. The majority of people, I feel like, let's say you're starting a paint company, trim company, whatever, and you're specialized. And because I've seen this has come up multiple times over the last couple of weeks. And I've talked to builders about it, and they're like, man, they started out really good. Next thing you know, they're getting messy. They're letting their quality go. They're trying to go up on the prices all the time, and I'm done with it. Right. I'm finding somebody else. And it's a sad reality in the trade. You hear Rick and Bubba talk about it on their radio show. Yeah. They're not a fan of contractors because they've been lied to so many times. They've been, drug out, drug around.
Oh yeah.
And, I wanted to kind of make a point where if you're thinking that you want to do something like this and you want to go out, whatever it is, you have to be mentally prepared to be the only one in the shop. Right? The only one working, the only one just grinding, while the people you're working for are sitting at home in the bed, asleep, they're watching TV, and you're out here sanding.
You got to be okay missing the game because you're running shop on a Saturday,
mm-hmm.
Or you're doing something else, and I admit that I can be very lazy, like in a weird way, I think, well, I mean, we've talked about it before. Like, I'm lazy about it getting up and going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but now once I'm there, I don't care. Like, I'm going to stay until the job is done. Doesn't matter. But getting up in the morning when I don't have a dedicated place to be at a dedicated time, I can be lazy about that. And I know that. But what you also need is you need somebody to help. Sometimes you need that driving force to help hold you accountable. And I don't like that my wife chooses to be that person sometimes, but she chooses to be that person, and I need her to be that person, even though I don't like it when she does it. I mean, I know that when I hear the eye roll, well, what time are you setting your alarm for? Well, I think I'm going to get up early and go on and get to the shop. And I can literally hear the eyes rolling. You're not getting up. You're not going to get up. I have good intentions. If I had $1 for every time I said I'm going to get up and go early to the shop, I could probably retire. But I'm just not good at it. I'm not. But now, if you need me to stay till 8, 9, 10 o'clock, I don't care. Like, it doesn't
That's what I'm
bother me.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
You
Is
know?
you still have the same drive and determination to get the job done. We're talking just broad spectrum here.
But what I'm saying is, I think you got to be honest with yourself. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you got to be honest. Like, so, like Derek, for example, right? Derek likes to be home by like 3:30 in the afternoon to spend time with, because he's got young kids, to spend the afternoon. And so he gets up and he is at the shop at like 6 o'clock in the morning, so that he can, do the other thing. But he's aware. He's aware of where he needs to shift things so that he can be, tied to other things. And I think that's what you got to be. There's a small business in Greenville that I kind of follow, like one of the owners, and I'm like, and I constantly see like, well, we're not going to be at the shop today, or we've got your stuff. If you want to pick it up here. And because we got to go pick up our kids, and I'm like, I just don't see how long this is going to last. Like, you
Yeah.
can't keep shuffling your customers around for what's convenient for you. It'd be like me saying, hey, you know what? I got your cabinets ready, but if you want them, I'm going to need you to come pick them up, and then I'll install them for you. Like, you, you, you can't tailor a business for you. You
Right.
got to
Yep.
tailor the business for the customer. I mean, I've got a very, what's I think is a very good personality and a very bad personality at the same time. Like, I am never satisfied, right? But I think from a point, business growth point, I think I shorted some syllables off that the first time.
It'd be all right.
I think it's good. Like, I am already looking for the next place to move the shop to. Now, which drives Kim up the wall that I would even mention the words move the shop again. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to move the shop in 2 months or I'm going to move the shop in 6 months. But the thing is that I know I've got to move the shop. Like, this is a good location. It's great. It's miles ahead of where we work. And I'm happy and I'm perfectly content. But I know it's not forever. Like, I know
Right.
it can't be forever. It's not the permanent location, because I know I don't want to continually give somebody else money that I have no equity in.
Yep.
I know that I can't hire an employee because I don't even have a bathroom. Like, I see the limitations of it. As great as it is, I already see the limitations of it. So it's okay. Well, where is the goal? Where is the new goal line? I mean, I think it's like, a football team not being aware of where the first down markers. You know where the goal line. You know how to score a touchdown, but you also
Mm-hmm.
got to be aware of where the next first down is.
Yep.
Because it's like, that is the ultimate place to be, is across the goal line and to score points. But I've got to get there 10 yards at a time. I got to get that
Mm-hmm.
first down. Otherwise I'm resetting. And yeah, but what drives you? It drives me because I don't want to work for somebody else.
That's it.
Because I don't want to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning if I don't want to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I don't want somebody, barking at me when I walk in the door because I'm there at 8:15.
Yeah.
It's simple.
And you can backtrack a little bit and be like, man, I don't want to be here. Right? It's 10:30 at night, and I'm like, dude, I really don't want to be here. But if I'm not here, that puts me behind tomorrow. And if I don't get done tomorrow, that puts me behind on installing these cabinets. And if I don't install them on time, that's going to, piss off the builder. And if I do that enough times, he's going to drop me. And then I have to start this whole new relationship with a whole new builder. I've got to find one that's worth the crap.
What's the ultimate carrot? What is the ultimate carrot for us? It's the payday.
Yeah.
It is the payday, because the payday is not the most important thing in our life, but that's what lets us enjoy the most important things in our life, right?
Yep.
But as a small business owner, I know that every moment that I'm in the shop, that puts me closer to the payday, right? Yeah, I can take off Saturday and I can push off an install a day. No big deal. Not a factor. The homeowner is going to be okay with it as long as I got good communication and I got a good relationship. And I need to push it. I had to do it this weekend with those arch doors. Go in on Saturday to template route those arch doors. The bearing burned up in my template bit, and blew the template out. I had to overnight some. They didn't get here till like 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. I was like, I'm not driving 30 minutes to go to the shop to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to push everything off. Like I'm just going to push
Yep.
everything. It just doesn't make sense at this point in time. And that happens, but that delayed the payday. I mean, that put payday 2 more days behind. And when you get used to being able to control your payday, you know, you're like, well, I don't like this anymore. You know, I
That's
mean,
it.
you do a job. I mean, when you get turning and you bust out a job and you're like, I spent 2 days on this and that was a $2,500 payday. What do you want to do next time? I'd like to spend a day and a half on this $2,500 payday. Like, I just I want to do the same quality product. I want to spend less time on it. I want to get paid faster.
Yeah. And I don't understand my own mind. I really don't. But we all look at things, a different way. And I get honestly, I get enjoyment out of uh, you know, continuously improving the process, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we got this new thing, this new way of doing things, this new thing takes care of that. And I elate for a few days over it, and I'm super happy. And I call Charlie, and I'm like, "Hey man, guess what we're doing now? We're doing this." He comes over and he gives his 2 cents. He's like, "Great, man, that's awesome. Yeah, why didn't you do this earlier?
Yeah.
Whatever." And then, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. And then, but 2 days later, I'm back on it, man. I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next? What's next? But I get enjoyment out of doing that, right? And that goes all the way into making cabinets, all the way into everything we do. I enjoy the overall process. Do I like sand and primer? Not necessarily.
Right.
But my brain just says, "Hey, man, that's part of the process. Overall, you love everything about this.
Right.
You may not love this part as much, but overall, so that keeps me, happy. It keeps me going. It keeps me rocking and rolling. And I don't expect or need other people. Like I don't expect Trey to eat, sleep, and breathe cabinet making, right?
No, because he's an employee. He's not an owner. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have the same stake in the game.
And he doesn't have to edify my mindset.
Right.
Just like I don't have to edify his. He may be interested in painting unicorns when he gets off. I don't have to like that.
I feel like that's accurate.
This probably is. He's probably got some stickers. He probably collects, princess stickers or something. I don't know what he does. But it's just I think all of that stuff tied together, equals your drive and your determination and things to do it. And it don't matter if it's whatever it is, chores or homework, whatever it is. You just have to keep the end goal in sight.
You know what my favorite thing is? A fast, easy install.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when an install goes exactly how you planned it on going, it goes, a couple hours, you not making a bunch of modifications, not having to think about a whole lot of things that you should have done or could have done. You did everything in the shop right. That extra 10 minutes you took to make this, whatever it was, and then it just slides right in, it just fits, and you're like, oh, this is great. And you get that customer feedback, that that instant gratification of, because I look back and I'm always going to see the flaw in a job that I did.
Right.
I don't know that I'll ever, and hopefully I don't, get to that point. Stand by.
Oh, here it comes. Nope.
It's gonna catch me. It's gonna catch me in the middle of talking. But the satisfaction that I get, really,
Oh! There's one. Just one
one
this time. Come
just one.
on, all that build up for
I
one
know.
sneeze.
But it's really the gratification that I get from the customer looking at it and going, this is beautiful. This is just beautiful. I mean, that white oak hutch that I did, I mean, I brought in the lower base and they were like, oh my God, that is beautiful. And it was just a shell with no drawers in it at this point,
Yeah.
It's, oh, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And, and then bring the upper part in and set it down. They're like, you know what? We're not even going to stain it anymore. It's just too pretty.
Yep.
We're just going to clear coat it. I was like, Thank you, Lord, because if you'd
Uh,
have put some stain on this white oak, I might have cried a little bit. But it's yours. It's yours.
yep.
So I'm gonna
I would have
let you.
cried
But
on the way home.
yes, but but really and truly though, I really judge a job of how good a job is by how smoothly the install goes. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Now, let
yeah,
me ask you. Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. Go, no, you go.
That was it. I just, I see a lot of wannabes, and I see a lot of people who, and it bothers me, and I wanted to,
But I don't
you know,
stress about those people though, because I feel like I can drive right by them.
oh yeah, absolutely. I
You
mean,
know what I
it
mean?
just, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, either get serious or get out.
Yeah.
You know, kind
Yeah.
of what I want. And Trey invented something because I've written it down here. I remember what it was. So sometimes we have long unsupported pieces of face frame. So let's say you're doing a fridge wrap. So it's a tall box cabinet, and the face frame just goes over where the doors are at the top, and then you have two long pieces that come down and touch the floor. So your left style and your right style could be 8, 9, or 10 feet tall,
Uh-huh.
right on your fridge wrap. Well, we've struggled lately because you have this, this box at the top on your frame where your doors go, right? You got your top rail, your bottom rail, and your center mull. But then you have these long feet that go all the way to the floor. And so it gets a little wily, when you're taking it off the jig, and I go out there and I see something attached to them. And I'm like, what is that? And Trey's like, yeah, I was in here by myself and I didn't have any help to hold this leg up while I screwed it together over here on this end. So he made a stretcher, and
Right.
it's got like a little channel on both ends of it. And I have to send you a picture of it because I probably can't explain it. But anyway, it holds the legs apart. It's got a cradle on top and cradle on the bottom, and it just holds the legs. So he snaps that on there, and then he
Hmm.
could go on the other side and put the frame. And I thought it was just genius. Again, super simple, right? All it is a spreader bar that just holds the.
Necessity is the creator of all.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of tell everybody about that, and that's his mindset. He's of the same mindset of how can we improve a little at a time, a little at a time.
Well, and you're lucky. I mean, you're lucky with him. And I mean, and I feel like the unfortunate side about Trey is that I feel like he's going to want more and that you're going to end up losing him at some point. Like, I think Trey is, and this is not because he listens or anything, but I think Trey is a smart enough kid or guy and has enough wherewithal about himself that he's going to want to step on his own and continue stepping forward, that like you're going to lose a good person at some point in time.
Well,
I mean,
maybe.
I don't know when. I don't
I
know
hope
what
that
that looks like, but
I hope that's way in the future.
I do too. I mean, I do for you. I mean, but I just I don't know how to
I
put
wonder if
it
he would
without it
stay.
sounding bad, but I just feel like he is one of those people that is capable of more than being a shop hand. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
don't mean
Oh
that
well.
badly. Like I
Right.
don't mean that negatively towards people who are shop hands, because some people are that's good for them and that's good enough and they're happy with that and that makes them content, and that makes them feel secure. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know if he is that person.
Well, now that can go and get super complicated, right? So I kind of know what Trey enjoys doing in the shop and what
Yeah.
he don't really like to do, and I try my best to work around that. You know, and we have an awesome time
Yeah.
here. But in the future, in 5 years, I don't see Trey doing the same thing that he's doing now
Right.
necessarily here. Let's say Trey stays on, right? He stays on another 20 years. Well, like I said, in 5 years, I don't think he's going to be doing the same processes that he's doing today because he dips his finger in everything. There's nothing in this shop that Trey doesn't do.
Yeah.
right? Except for design, he don't design. But other than that, you know, we're setting Trey up to go measure houses. We're setting him up to, you know, kind of handle some different things here and stuff. And I think that you can satisfy somebody's want to be more independent and do things on their own without them necessarily owning the business or owning their own business.
And that may be where you save it, is the fact that you're being more aware and you're involving him in more in things instead of saying you're my face frame guy.
Exactly.
You're my sheep feeder. You know,
Yep.
whatever role that you hire somebody to be. I think you got to be aware of that, especially like a 2-man shop. 2.5 man, 3-man shop. Like you got to be aware of development, because it's kind of like you said before, like you've said, like Tommy, for example, like it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to pour a ton of time and energy into teaching Tommy the cabinet business when he has very clearly stated that this is not where he wants to be for the rest of his life. This is not what he envisions seeing, so if I think if you like had your head in the clouds and were like, well, but Thomas is my son, Thomas is going to inherit this, I'm going to focus all my time and energy on Thomas because this is what I want him to do, and you kind of ignored Trey, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you were so focused on developing him because that was what you wanted, and not being focused on what the individuals who actually worked for you wanted.
Yeah,
you would lose him. Like I think you would definitely lose him.
Yeah.
So
and that depends on the person's attitude. I've had somebody that worked here before, that I'll just be honest, left a very large sour taste around here. It was not pretty. It was not, it was ugly.
Yeah.
And I don't spend a lot of time talking about that because I don't think it deserves airtime, really, to be honest with you. But the difference in attitude, right, from, and I don't want to compare people, but I'll just say one person to the next, okay?
Right.
The difference in how they deal with the day as it unfolds, as it goes, I think is a lot different. And, some people can say, hey, this is my career, right? This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And as long as you help them feed whatever they're hungry for, I don't think you'll have a whole lot of problems. However, if you get somebody in who develops the mindset of, I'm just this guy, right? I'm just a frame guy. I'm just an install guy. I'm just this. I'm just that. Then it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how much, free will you give them or not, or, whatever they decide is going to be, I'm stuck doing this one little mundane thing forever. And I had, my nephew worked here and he was like, not interested.
Yeah.
I can't catch on to this. I can't, the super technical stuff. And he was like, I'm out. And I was like, fair enough. Fair enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
Trey's brain is super technical.
Yeah,
super technical, And so, I don't know what the future holds on that.
Well, the personality difference too between a person, I mean, who says, I come to work no matter what it is, but like use the face frame, assembly as an example. That's like, well, I got to do the face frames this way. I'm supposed to do them this way, but when I do it, this part is awkward. And you've got one person who's just continued to work in the awkward manner.
Bingo.
And then you got another personality type that's going to go, you know what? If I do this, it will not only make my life better, it will enhance the product and it will enhance the shop. If I do this, it's like, I can't remember what he did one day. Like you guys needed something, and like he went and bought like some hooks
they were
or
just
something.
hooks to hold up. Yeah, hooks to hold guns up.
He was like, I find this beneficial to help me. And you're like, well, I'll pay for it, and all, and I mean, and that's the right thing to do. But in his mindset, and somebody like Trey is not, this will help you, but I'm not doing this because it'll help you. I'm doing it because it
Right.
will help me enjoy this better and make my day better. So I want to do it because I want to be someplace that my day is better, and I want my day to be better
Yep.
here. You
And I'm
know?
gonna tell you something, man. If you have an employee, not Travis, I'm talking to you listeners. If you have an employee, you better give them freedom
Yeah.
to make changes on their own, right? You ain't nobody's daddy but your kids,
Yeah.
right? The last thing you need to do is go, this is exactly how we're going to do it. From now on, there are no changes. You are locked in doing it this way. My philosophy is I'm focused on the end product.
Yeah.
And man, Trey and I have discussions all the time. Hey, what do you think about this? And he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm like, okay, we won't do it.
Right.
Because he's got good, he don't just say that. He brings up reasons why it's not a good idea. And then Trey's like, hey, what about if we did this? And I'm like, yeah, let's try it and see. And that, in some sense, that gives him an out, a creative out, you know, to utilize his particular skill set and his intelligence and, you know, his drive and desire to make things better, because he knows that he won't never be any lower here than what he was on his first day. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah.
always going to be
But
moving up and learning.
but in that same breath, though, let's say you're not the business owner, you're the employee. Don't just constantly come with a problem.
Yeah.
Come with a solution.
Yeah.
All right. And you may need to sit on a problem for a little while, right? I mean, there may be a problem and you need to sit on it for a week or so that you can go, you know what, hey Mitch, there's a problem with this, but I think if we do this, I think we can fix the problem. And, or, but sometimes you may have to go, you know what, hey Mitch, you got 10 minutes, or Travis, I need to talk to you. This seems to be a problem. I've been thinking about it for a week or so, and I really can't come up with a way to make it better. But I feel like if we worked on it together, we could make this better. Like, don't just come with the problem. Anybody can point out problems with a system or with a process, because no system or process is perfect. No employer is
Right.
perfect. But if you occasionally, when you come with a solution to a problem, that when you have a problem that you don't have a solution to and you need help with, that employer, that boss is going to be way more receptive to listening to you, because they know that you're not coming just to complain. You're
Yep.
not just coming to whine. You're coming to make things better for all parties involved, because you are interested. And they know that because you've brought solutions to the table before. So don't just be a problem finder. That doesn't do anybody any good.
No, it
It
sure
really
don't.
doesn't.
It makes you just look like a pansy that complains about everything all the time. You
It just
always have an
Yeah,
excuse.
you just look unhappy, unsatisfied. You made me think. So I told you I hired my landlord's kid to clean the shop, so like sweep and all, and so I'm kind of the first night. I hope I hadn't told this story. If I've told this story, tell me. But the first night, he kind of like I'm kind of showing him, and he's kind of here and there, about like sweeping. Like, next thing I know, he's in this corner. Next thing I know, he's in this corner. And the goal is just to kind of sweep the dust off the floor and take all the scrap to the dumpster, right? Nothing grandiose about this job.
Yeah.
And I just kind of sit back on it. And I said, look, buddy, I really don't care how you get this job done. I said, but if you don't get more organized in the way you go about doing this job, your dad's going to come and question me, because you're out here for 3 or 4 hours
Yeah.
for $30, and your dad's going to be like, what in the world what are you making him do, when it's really you kind of being scattered about the process. Like,
Yeah.
again, I don't really care how you get the process done, but at the other side, because you're a minor for one thing, and I know your dad, like, I need you to do this systematically. Like, let's work on this and get it, work from one corner to the other corner, work from the front to the back to the front. I don't care, but let's don't vacuum here, then vacuum there, then vacuum there. Like, because you're going to be here forever, you
Yeah.
know? I didn't want to micromanage it because it's not something that needs micromanaging. It's vacuuming and taking out the scrap. But at the same time, you got to balance that.
And it's
How long
good
it's
for
going to take him.
yeah, and I think something like that is good for both parties.
Yeah.
You know, because you're learning how do I tell this dude how to sweep
Right.
without telling him how to sweep?
Right.
And he's learning it's okay for somebody to come up and say, hey, we need to try it like this. We need to do it this way,
Yeah.
not to be offended, not to, get mad because it's nothing personal, and that kind of thing is really healthy, I think, for a.
Well, and I think as a manager, as a boss, as an owner, whatever you want to call it, you got to learn when the process needs to be micromanaged and when it doesn't.
Yep.
And then that way that when you do step in to manage something, it's more receptive. Because if you micromanage everything, then you're just a micromanager. That's just what you're known as. But when you only come in and really get deep in certain things, that perception is different. What you're stepping in is recognized as being more important, and that this is what needs to happen. And again, like somebody assembling face frames, I don't care if they start on the left side of the face frame or the right side of the face frame, but we need to do it. You need to start on the left side every time if you're going to choose on the lefts.
Be consistent.
Or you need to start on the right side every time you start. Like, you can start on the top for all I care. Like, I just need the face frame assembled in a timely manner and it to be correct. I don't really care how you go about doing it. But
so let me ask you this: has he shown any interest, like, in the stuff that goes on in there? Okay, all right. I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah. No.
All right. Well.
But yeah, drive and determination. I mean, that's a long conversation, and there's a whole lot of roads you could go down with that. But and everybody's going to be different, I mean,
yeah.
Some people are solely financially, motivated. Some people are, motivated by having that family life balance. The fact that you can be at home more, you don't have to be gone as much. I don't think you're going to be as successful. I think you're going to struggle when you're not working a bunch. I'm just sorry.
Yeah.
Like it takes time to get things established.
That old timeline to get you, man. That timeline to get you.
Yeah, and I don't know what. I'll let you know when I'm established and I can take some time off. We'll let you know. Hopefully, we'll still be podcasting by then. But
yeah,
I mean, right now it's just not. I mean, it's just not there. It's just not a factor. I mean,
well, where are we at on time?
We're an hour 50 in.
Hour 15?
50. 50.
Hour 50.
Yep.
Okay.
So we probably should start to.
Yeah, I had a fleeting.
Down.
Oh. My bad.
Oh, there's one. We got one in. I hadn't done it yet, so
this sucker's all in my face, man.
I know, right?
So I got on here written, and this can be a short one, unless you have anything you want
to
push out.
Nah.
Days off at the shop -LOL.
Okay.
So I was telling Tammy and Riley, we went out and got something to eat for lunch today. And I said, I'm telling y'all, when we get these bases set, and the overhead set and whatever, and everything kind of calms down. Because, dude, it has been a rat race the last 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
I said, when everything's calmed down, we're going to have a day off at the shop. And we're just going to straighten up. We're going to organize. We're going to clean. And Riley looks at me and she goes, Dad, that's not a day off. And I said, well, it kind of is a day off, because you're not pressed to get anything done, that day. And I just thought it was kind of a funny concept of having a day off at the shop. And you touched on it earlier where you were like, I just go in and clean a little bit, or I'll go in and kind of organize and piddle.
Yeah.
And we love days like that around here. But you also need it. We've covered that a million times. You need a decompression day.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell Trey just stay at home, and not get paid. But I'm also not going to bring him in because he works Saturday, he works Sunday. We're going to work all day tomorrow setting bases. And, I'm not just going to keep him in here. And I can't, you can't, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
But coming in and just having a reset day where we got music going, dude, and everything's relaxed, and we're just,
it's still super productive. It just doesn't, it just doesn't have that super productive drive feel. Like you're still getting a ton of stuff done. All the stuff that you've negated, the stuff that is going to make life easier that you just can't dedicate time to, I mean, I did the other day. I finally ripped out a crappy table that was attached to the wall that I inherited that I didn't want, and set all those bases that I built for that pantry that I built way too many for.
Mm-hmm.
I finally set those, in place, and have all those drawers now. But I didn't have time to do that, but I really needed to do that because I had those cabinets floating around the shop, continually moving, So yeah, a day at the shop, I'm with you. Like it's
just a decompression day is what it is.
Yeah.
And for those of you on YouTube, little bit. I got a little bit.
There's a puppy dog.
To come see me.
Oh, she likes to lick the microphone.
Oh yeah. This dog hears something else. Get out. Get out. That dog is a mess.
Oh, Lord.
That is the ever famous little bit.
Little bit.
Anyway, that's really all I had, dude. I mean, it was a good week. We got a lot of stuff going on next week. Installs and door. Well, I'll be painting doors. So when we record a podcast, it's going to be, what'd you do this week? We painted doors.
Yeah.
That's what it will be. But I'm looking forward to it.
We'll take some video tomorrow while we're setting some cabinets. Show us some tips, some tricks, something that you like to do. Let's get some content going there. And man, I hope you guys have an awesome week. We'll get after it. Get some productivity done. I'm gonna go through sophomore homecoming float build hell tomorrow afternoon.
I better get a video. I might FaceTime you.
Oh gosh, I just hope it goes well. And then we start building the next Monday. But tomorrow is just kind of the planning phase. Try to figure out what they want.
What y'all gonna eat?
I don't know. They do like a parents volunteer and feed for that kind of stuff. So
potluck.
Yeah.
Potluck.
I mean, now last year, I will say during the float build, them parents came through. We had some good grub last year.
Yeah,
They really
I love a potluck.
Yeah. But we got a really cool barn that we work in. One of the family's owns. So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, we'll get that done, and then we'll get some installs. I got like 3 little jobs, like 2 granders that I need to bang out this week. Like I think I maybe had 4 of them, and then just some cabinet, drawing cabinets. It's going better. We're definitely getting better and moving forward. It just takes time, to get them all done and get them drawn
now
up.
That it's a little bit more accurate.
Yeah, it's different when you get 16ths and not just quarters. But we didn't really get the chance to dive into that. But we can. I got it written down. We can save that.
Yeah, we're gonna go down that.
Oh mercy!
And my question, your homework is, I want you to come back and tell these folks why you did 10 jobs and didn't catch it.
10? Nah, it's not 10 jobs. Come on. 3 or 4.
I want to know how you didn't catch it. That's your homework.
I don't know.
And it better be a good reason.
Well, the reason is because I really, really trust and depend on the software. What it spits out, I don't question. I really just go with, and that's.
But you got to fix now, right?
Yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
Okay. All right. We'll do that's what we'll do next week. We'll give you a Pro 100 update. Gotcha. It's been ebb and flow. It's been a little up and down. Flow,
but yeah. Well, all right. Well, we don't get out of here. I'm gonna go get some Mexican.
Ooh, I wish I could go.
Yeah, we gotta go get a little something to eat. Ain't nobody had nothing to eat yet tonight, so I'm gonna take them up and try to set them up for a good week.
Good deal, dude. We'll be careful out there next week. I'll try to remember to take some video tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
You trade a video, you spraying Summers this week. I don't know.
Oh yeah. There'll be plenty of that.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Be safe. Go after something. Look at our process. Find a way to make improvement. Look at a a business plan. What can you do? Look at your own marketing plan. How can you improve that? How can you reach some more customers? How can you be a better person? How can you be a better employee? Maybe you're not in charge.
Stop driving slow in the left lane, that sort of thing.
That'd be really great. Get out of the left lane. All right, everybody, bring them back. 10 fingers, 10 toes.
All 10 of them, baby. Let's go. Let's do it.
Word of the day.
That's going to be old iron.
Old iron. I like it. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you coming by.
See y'all.